Back with Graham Locke this week to have a look at some information from the stewards. And Graham, we start with Saturday night's meeting at Menangle. Lucky Voodoo won the first.
Yes, Greg. The horse has come back in good form and probably ran right up to its excellent performances in higher company before it had an ease up. Was driven positively by Dean Sinovskis. We did question Dean in respect to the tactics. Some people might have been surprised to see it lead the race. Dean explained, and the vision confirms, that there really wasn't a great deal of interest by other drivers to push out off the arm, and our view was in the end that Lucky Voodoo is led by default or circumstances as much as anything. So we did just make him aware that where there were a variation in tactics, he was required to notify us, but didn't consider him, and in this instance, in breach of the rules.
All right, anything else?
Shannon's a blast. Probably some people would say it was disappointed. Brad Elder did explain to us that he felt he worked harder than he needed to in the early stages of the race. He pointed out that the horse had recently returned from a spell, and over the longer distance he felt it would benefit from the race.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Race 2, that was won by Johnny Be Good and Amanda Turnbull.
Yeah, look, just another good positive drive from Amanda Turnbull. A couple of incidents in the race. We did query Ashley Grives as to why she left the 1-1 position in the straight on the first occasion, and she just explained that she was conscious of being shuffled back in the race as other horses might have improved later in the race over the longer journey, and wanted to be more forward so as not to concede a start, as the horse had raced well at its previous starts when conceding a start. And we did also just check with James Rattray, the driver of the recent arrival from Tasmania, Juralowski Lees, in respect to the fact that it was 3 wide early. He went back. He explained to us that he would prefer in future to settle more forward, and where possible the horse would be driven in that manner.
Okay. Race number 3, the Claimers, and Composed back into the winners list. Todd McCarthy driving.
Well, it's the first time he's been in the winners list in New South Wales since he was claimed by Mr Marshall, and but had run some excellent races in a level just above claiming class and back to a claimers race. Was driven dominantly to lead, and was fortunately too good for him over the latter stages. Nothing else to come out of the race, basically, apart from Des Don Murphy failed to score up, and we have issued a warning in regards of his manners.
Race number 4, this was a 3-year-old event, and He's a Bromac continued his good, strong recent form. Yeah,
excellent record, 4 out of 5. The trainer was in the press talking the horse up during the week, and he ran accordingly.
Okay. My Gelignite won the free-for-all, race number 5. No bow tied. He was scratched in the morning with a high temperature, but My Gelignite for Shane Sanderson.
Yeah, look, reading in the paper, Mr Sanderson seemed to be a little surprised by the win. I think the horse was well driven. It got the benefit of being carted along behind particularly a fast last sectional, and it's probably not the last time that we're going to see My Gelignite in the winner's circle based on that performance. If you look at the last section, I think they ran something like 54-1 for the last half, and that's probably going to be as good as some of those horses can run.
Okay. The Frith took out the TaylorMade Lombo Stakes, the night's feature race with Todd McCarthy in the sulky. Yeah,
look, arguably the cream came to the top with Frith, although drawn on the back row, circling the field and getting into a more forward position, as has been customary off the back row draws for it in recent starts. Amaretto was drawn to lead. The cream came to the top with Amaretto and Frith battling it out, and the strongest horse won the race.
150.1, they were low flying. Our Dainty Lady won the Trotters after making an error the week before, was too strong the next week.
Yeah, and from where it came from in the run, Greg, I don't think there's any excuses for the beaten division, frankly.
Okay. And Abby Cullen won the last for Steve and Amanda Turnbull.
Well, Connections probably showed their hand here with a change of tactics to be driven forward, and if we go back probably 3 or 4 months ago now, Abby Cullen was in a rich vein of form when able to be driven in a forward manner, and off the draw took advantage of the draw and subsequently was quite strong.
Okay, so that's the meeting out of Menangle on a Saturday night. Just a few points that people will see in the E-Gazette. Firstly, children in the stables.
Greg, I think this is a difficult one for the industry, but nevertheless one that we have to respond to for obvious reasons. Firstly, there's a rule of racing which says that children under 14 can't be beyond a barrier in the stables area, so that's pretty well straightforward. And all clubs have been recently reminded of that requirement, so they've got to have provision to facilitate that. At the same time, the Board of Harness Racing New South Wales has reinforced to management and the stewards that they consider it a requirement to enforce the rule. And if we look at in the broader world, the obligation of Harness Racing New South Wales and indeed the clubs is to provide a safe environment for participants and a safe environment for all concerned in the industry. So it won't please everybody, but for obvious reasons, we will be drawing people's attention to the fact that where we see people of a younger age in the horse area, people will be challenged and advised to take corrective measures.
Okay. What about drivers and race colours?
Yeah, Greg, it's come to our notice of recent times that the drivers, and to some extent perhaps our starters, have dropped the ball as far as adherence to advertised colours. Sometimes drivers have got multiple, or stables have got multiple runners, and drivers elect to stay in their own colours. And we've got a couple of prominent drivers who are probably where this is aimed at, and prominent stables. But just an advice to the industry that in order to promote our product and get the best look for our product, if you like, as far as the wagering customers are concerned, there'd be nothing worse than sitting in a hotel or club environment and you've had an investment on a horse and it takes you half the race to pick out what horse it is because it's not in a set of club colours, which in most cases are apparent or obvious, and it's in perhaps an obscure set of colours of the driver or even another stable, or another owner. So it's not something that we've consciously allowed. It's just it appears to be occurring more frequently in recent times, and for that reason we put everybody on notice that we'll be looking at that aspect in a firmer hand.